Okay, so we're all talking about AI constantly, right? But have you ever stopped to think about how a machine actually learns? I mean, really learns. It's not some kind of magic trick. It's a super fascinating process. And today, we're going to pull back that curtain and show you exactly what's going on under the hood. I mean, sure, we know AI systems can crunch these incredible amounts of information, but that's just processing, right? The real mystery, the real question is how do they learn from all that information? How does an AI go from a total blank slate to, well, an expert? Well, the answer to that big question is something called machine learning. You've probably seen the initials, right? ML. And let me tell you, this is way more than just another tech buzzword. It's like the core engine that makes almost all modern AI actually run. So here's the absolute key takeaway. With machine learning, we don't sit down and write a super long list of specific hard-coded rules for the computer to follow. Nope. Instead, we just feed it a ton of examples, like a massive number of them, and we let it figure out the patterns and the rules all by itself. Think about it like this. Instead of trying to program a computer with rules, like, a dog has fur, four legs, and a waggy tail, we just show it thousands and thousands of pictures of dogs. And just from looking at all those photos, it starts to see the patterns. It learns the actual concept of what a dog is, all on its own. And what's so wild about this whole thing is that it's not some weird alien process. In fact, it's almost exactly how we humans learn. I want you to think back to when you learned to ride a bike. You didn't crack open a physics book on balance and velocity, right? Of course not. You just got on, you tried, you probably fell, you adjusted what you were doing, and you tried again. It's that whole cycle of trial and error. That's how the skill gets built. And that is exactly what a machine is doing. It gets some data, it makes a guess, a prediction, it gets it wrong, it gets corrected, and it adjusts its approach. And that cycle just repeats over and over and over until the machine gets unbelievably good at whatever it's doing. It's learning from experience, plain and simple, not from some pre-written rule book. Okay, so this might sound like some sci-fi, futuristic stuff, but it's really not. This technology is already a huge part of your daily life, probably in ways you don't even realize. Let's start with something you probably use today, Face Unlock on your phone. You know how it recognizes your face in like a split second? That's pure machine learning. It's been trained on your face so it knows, yep, that's them. Or what about your phone's camera? Ever use portrait mode? That awesome professional-looking blurry background? Yep, that's machine learning too. The AI has learned to tell the difference between a person and everything behind them, and then it applies that blur, just like that. And here's a big one we can all appreciate, your spam filter. That thing is constantly learning from literally millions of emails to figure out what junk looks like, saving you from drowning in a cluttered inbox every single day. Honestly, the list just goes on and on. It's the secret sauce behind your Netflix and YouTube recommendations. It's that customers also bought feature on Amazon. It even acts like a digital detective, sniffing out potentially sketchy credit card transactions to protect you. Okay, so we've established that machine learning is the process. It's the what. But what about the how? What are the actual instructions the machine is following? Well, the answer is a word I'm sure you've heard a million times: an algorithm. The easiest way to think about an algorithm is like a recipe. Seriously, it's just a step-by-step guide that tells the computer exactly how to look at the data and find those all-important patterns we've been talking about. It's the method to the machine's learning. Yep, it's pretty much the how-to guide for the machine. Now, you might hear some really complicated names for these things, like neural networks, and they can get super complex. But don't let that fool you. The core idea is always the same. It's just a structured way for the machine to learn. So this brings up a really good question, right? If machine learning is basically copying how humans learn, why bother with the machines at all? Why don't we just stick with good old-fashioned people? Well, the answer really boils down to three things: speed, scale, and memory. Think of it this way. A human expert, let's say a doctor, might be able to look at a few dozen medical scans in a day. An AI? It can analyze thousands in an hour. And while we humans forget stuff, a machine, it never, ever forgets. And on top of all that, a machine can just keep going. 24/7, it doesn't need coffee breaks, it doesn't need to sleep, it doesn't take vacations, it just works tirelessly around the clock. But, and this is a really big but, all of this incredible power comes with one golden rule, one absolutely critical principle that underpins, well, everything in AI. And here it is. An AI is only as smart as the data you feed it.
The quality of its answers depends completely on the quality of the information it learned from. It's that simple.
You've heard the saying, right? Garbage in, garbage out. It's never been more true than with AI. If you train a system on bad data, data that's flawed or biased or just incomplete, then its answers, its decisions, everything that comes out of it will also be flawed, biased, or incomplete.
So there you have it. From learning just like we do to working at speeds we can't even imagine, that's the real story of how AI learns. It's an unbelievably powerful tool, but one that is completely shaped by the data we decide to give it.
And that kind of brings us to a final thought for you to chew on. Now that you know that AI learns directly from the data we provide, what's one big problem you'd want it to learn how to solve? The possibilities are, well, they're pretty much endless. If you want to keep digging into big ideas like this one, make sure you subscribe for more. Thanks so much for tuning in.